Welcome, listeners. You're listening to Deeds in the Desert, the place where real estate investors tune in for the latest news and available investments at Ignite Funding. If you're on the hunt for a low-effort, passive income stream, then turn up that volume and pull out the hammock as we get ready to feed you your weekly dose of real estate investing insights.
Welcome back to another episode of Deeds in the Desert. Today we have Ryan Lantz from Gray's Development in the studio, and interviewing him today is going to be Pat Vassar, Director of Underwriting. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us. And more importantly, thank you, Ryan, for flying in from Denver for this special occasion.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's just dive right in. What can you tell our listeners about Gray's, correlation between local and how you fit into that equation?
Yeah, sure. So my business partner, Dave Lemna, and I started Lokal Homes in 2012. Along the way, we decided it would make more sense for a number of reasons to take our land acquisition, entitlement, and development activities outside of the home building business. And we created a company called Gray's Development as a completely separate standalone company. Its purpose is to, again, kind of identify, acquire, finance, and close on the land, and then get it entitled and developed specifically for the home building company.
So when you say specifically, it is not for anybody else except for Lokal Homes?
Correct.
Okay.
At the moment.
Perfect. And so the bifurcation of the process of land acquisition, entitlement, and development is solely on Gray's, and then the vertical construction is solely on local?
That's correct.
Okay. Gray's itself, do they do anything outside of what local specializes in, which is?
We do. So we have some expertise in the Gray's Development Company in terms of personnel management that allows us to look at other real estate opportunities that might include small apartment buildings, a build for rent community, different capabilities really from a financing and overall management perspective. Whereas Lokal Homes is designed specifically to build for sale product to the market. Okay.
Gotcha. What is the correlation between the two? Same ownership, same office, same everything? How does that stand?
Good question. So the ownership is the same. So Dave and I own the company 50-50, exactly like we own Lokal Homes.
Okay.
The companies they operate in completely separate locations. So great. It's in the same city in Denver, south of Denver actually, but two completely separate physical addresses, separate management teams, separate accountant, separate attorneys. So it really operates completely separate, and legally and logistically, it is a completely separate business.
So if it's a legally separate business, how are lots sold from Gray's over to Lokal Homes? Is there a contract involved? Is it a handshake deal? How does that really transpire?
Good question. So we use a process that looks exactly like a third-party sale would be. So Gray's will acquire the land, entitle it, develop it, and then sell those lots to Lokal Homes. What stands between Gray's and Lokal Homes is a bona fide purchase agreement. That agreement has things like earnest money deposits, contractual dates for due diligence periods, closing dates, sales pricing, all the things that you would see in a normal third-party transaction is what you'd see in that transaction. So if Gray's faults on any of its terms in the agreement, or if Lokal faults on any of its terms under the agreement, there are penalties in the contract like you would see from any major development company.
So is it safe to say all loans that we've done with Gray's Development have had bona fide contracts with Lokal Homes?
Yes.
Is it safe to say that will be the standard operating procedure going forward as well?
It is, yeah. So Pat, to take that one step further, Gray's will not close on a piece of land where we don't already, prior to acquiring the land, we will have a contract from Lokal Homes to buy the property on a predetermined takedown schedule at predetermined prices with an earnest money posted. Once that's in place, then we will move forward with acquiring the land. So Gray's really doesn't take any entitlement risk. It doesn't take any land development risk. It doesn't take any market risk, right? We're certainly not speculating on who we're going to sell it to or what price. So all that stuff is predetermined and in place in a contract with an earnest money deposit before we close on the land.
So we're taking out risk level, but keeping the rate of return the same. I like that. That's a great strategy.
I would too if I was on your side.
Yeah, great strategy for the investors.
Yeah, it's been a good partnership.
It has thus far. We've been working together since 2015, knew each other for years before that,
right.
But actually been doing deals together since 2015. During that time, hundreds of millions of dollars have changed hands without any issues. I wouldn't expect anything to change in the years to come, even getting past this COVID and banking issues and whatever else comes our way.
That's a fact.
To kind of close things out here, how did you come up with the name Lokal and Grays Development?
So Lokal, when we started the business, Dave and I both have large production home building backgrounds working for national builders. And what we thought is in 2012, when we looked at the landscape of the Denver marketplaces, we thought, that last recession really wiped out the private builders for a number of reasons. But we thought, the market really there's room for a private builder, for a local builder in the market. And so we thought, and people were like, well, how are you going to compete with these big guys? And it's through relationships like we have with you folks that have allowed us to grow in the early days on the home building company. But we thought, hey, listen, everyone thinks that's a weakness of ours, but let's embrace it and make it a strategy, right? And so we're a local option for a market that's dominated by public builders. So it's a higher touch experience from the builder as compared to some of our larger, production builders that we compete with. And we provide a different kind of local touch. And so we just embraced it. I think at the time it was cool to misspell stuff on purpose. We put a K in there instead of a C. And that became our brand.
Got it. Yeah. And what about on the Grays side of things? In
Grays, we're an active group. Some of our core values include passion and just, activity and being part of the community. And some of the ancillary companies that we've created over the years are named after peaks in Colorado. So Grays is a 14er in Colorado.
14er meaning 14,000 feet?
A mountain that's 14,000 feet or higher.
Okay.
And so we named this business after Grays, which is often paired with another kind of sister peak called Torreys. So Grays and Torreys was the first 14er I did. And so
mine as well, as a matter of fact.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it absolutely was.
So that's why it's called Grays Development.
Awesome. I didn't know that. I thought it had to do with hair color.
No, I don't have much of that anymore. I guess I have some in my beard, so that could have worked. But no, in fact, it was the peak.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping by, spending time out of your day to get over here to Las Vegas to record this and share a little knowledge with our investors.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Thanks again for listening to Deeds in the Desert. This ad is sponsored by Pillars of Finance. Pillars of Finance is an investment community created by industry experts for investors of all kinds. It is a virtual event that takes place on April 4th at 3 p.m. If you have not registered or if you would like to learn more, go to pillarsoffinance.com or click the registration link in the podcast description. And thanks again for listening to Deeds in the Desert.